Today we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 tools from Knipex. You guys, this was a hard list to make. I had to battle it out. So I'm going to leave some other options, some honorable mentions at the end. These tools are tools that will change your workflow. They are so far ahead of the competition for a lot of these. Comment down below. Let me know what your favorite tool from Knipex is. Let's get to it. So this was such a difficult decision, honestly, to only pick 5 tools from Knipex. But you guys already know, if you know anything about Knipex, you know, first of all, that it's pronounced Knipex. All of you trolls out there, say whatever you want, all right? But the official YouTube of Knipex, all their socials say Knipex. So eat that. But if you guys do know Knipex, then you know that the Cobras are one of their most famous pliers. They are one of the most used, and there is good reason for that. I did just do an entire video on these, so I'll link that at the end. I'm gonna go over some of these features so you guys don't have to go somewhere else just to find the information. So these things right here are amazing. I introduced these into my workflow probably 5 years ago, and I'll never go back, okay? First of all, they are absolutely, like, astronomically better than what we would consider channel locks here. These are called water pump pliers, all right? Now, there's a couple things that make these so much better than the pliers that we traditionally use with the flat jaws, okay? Now, this push button here is also one of the, I mean, it's the GOAT. That's all I can say, really, is that it is the GOAT. So in order to move it, in order to change the position, you press this button down, and it locks into place. You hear that click? So now it's there. No more of the pliers just like slipping in and out, going to a different position, being the wrong size. Like, it's so easy. You just put your pipe in there, you press the button, and you snug it up to it, and then boom. And your handles are always tight and firm. They're never super wide. It's they're so fantastic. The push button really is a game changer, but there's so much more than that, you guys. Also, you can see just how many positions there are. All of those little grooves are each individual position, so it does get very specific, which is nice. These handles are definitely my favorite for this style of plier. They're a dipped handle, but they're not just like a traditional dipped like rubber. They have quite a bit of texture to them. I love this handle. It's my favorite type of dipped handle. That being said, it works really well for something like this where you're running pipe, you're grabbing nuts and bolts, going. It's very thin. You can maneuver it, manipulate it. But this head here, okay, couple special things about this head. Number one, these teeth in here are aggressive. They are so aggressive, you guys. They are sharp. They stay sharp for forever, and they're single directional, okay? So they only go down. Like from the head, they only go this way. They don't go in reverse. They don't grip that way, which is great. I'll show you guys why here in just a second. But it makes them super aggressive, and it makes sure that you don't lose your pipe. I'm telling you guys, you will mar the pipe before you ever lose grip. It's crazy. The shape of this really allows for you to grab things that are circular, like a nut or a bolt, or pipe. That's what I do with these a lot, is run pipe. Grab connectors, fittings. This is the 10-inch pair, you guys. I have a 10-inch pair. I got the 7.5, the 16, and the 22. For reference, this is the 22-inch pair. These things are massive. I like these. I don't love them. They're very large. But you guys, this 10-inch pair here, I'm telling you, you can just get so much more in there too. You don't have to switch out to your bigger channel locks at any point in time, your bigger water pump pliers. But yeah, these things are awesome. And so one of the other features that I really love about this plier specifically is that when I'm running something like 3/4 EMT or 1-inch EMT, to ream it, I don't carry a reaming tool anymore. I put it with the jaw closed on the inside of the pipe, and I move it around, and that reams the inside. And then on the outside, I just open it up and I put it on the pipe, and I go backwards from the way that the teeth go. And it actually deburrs the outside of the pipe, which is fantastic. They do come in a bunch of different variations for this plier as well. They do come without the push button. It's called an alligator plier, not a Cobra, but they do have that. And they also have different handles. They have their comfort grip handles, which are the blue and the red, or they also have the VDE handles, which are insulated, but this is the alligator plier right here. It's the same thing without the push button. Obviously you guys can see that mechanism in there, The teeth are not as fine, and there is no push button to set it and forget it. Handles are comfortable. I got these in a set. I don't really use them ever. I don't need insulated water pump pliers, but over in Europe they do, so they make them. But you guys, these are a game changer. Everybody loves these, and there is a good reason for it. They're worth it. They're worth the money. The 10-inch pair is definitely the most affordable. For some reason, after that, it gets a lot more expensive. But the 10-inch pair are phenomenal, and the lower pairs. If you're not running pipe, then you don't need the 10-inch pairs. But if you are, I would say go 10. If not, they have the 7.5 or even the smaller ones, the XS, the extra smalls. So go check these out. You guys, if you're not using these, what are you doing? Coming in at number 2, this is the one that I had a hard time picking. There's so many different options that could have went in this number 2 place. You guys, it really is difficult, but I picked these step cutters here, and really just in general, their shears are phenomenal. Knipex is known for having very sharp pliers. They're known for having pliers that cut super well, okay? And so these came just like this. They're not super tight. They get a little stiff down here because of the play in the jaw here. But you guys, there's all these steps here in the actual plier right there on the jaw. And you guys, it's not gimmicky. I'm telling you guys, these little pliers cut like butter. I'm telling you, they cut through just about anything like so easily. Even copper wire, this size here, honestly, I'm not sure. I know that it's probably a 6 stranded. There is no force being applied at all here. It just cuts. I'm not even straining. They're a phenomenal plier, especially for something this size. It's very hard to have cutting abilities like that at something that is legitimately the size of my hand, and that is the 9512160. I'm going to leave a link to all these in the description, but that's the part number for this one. Really wanted to just highlight, honestly, the shears that Knipex makes in their cutting ability, because that's one of the things that definitely separates them from their competition. This one here is the Comfort Grip handle. It's got a curve to it, so it's a little bit curved here. It fits in my hand very, very nicely. I do have large hands, but these are small pliers, and they work incredibly well. You guys saw just how easy it was to knock that out just like that with legitimately probably a 5 or 6 inch plier. Number 3, this one here was a difficult one as well, because between the linemen's, the diagonal cutters, all of these different pliers here, it was so hard to choose. So I chose these 10-inch diagonal cutters because of the way that they cut so well. They're machined so well. One thing that they do that most companies are the opposite, they come loose like this, okay? That's what you want. Normally, you guys, you have to work your pliers in. They come in super stiff. You have to soak them in oil. You have to do all this stuff, and you have to use them for a little bit before they come like that. These were like this on day 1, okay? Now, these are 10-inch diagonal cutters. They have a pinch point, okay? These are not a shear. They come into a single point. There's like no play in this at all. In not quality linemen's and not quality diagonal cutters, you can see light that'll shine through. There's none of that happening here. As you guys can see, these are VDE. That means they're 1,000 volt rated. I love this handle, okay? It's the only plier on this list that I have this handle with. I have the VDE handles for just about everything else, and I'll show you guys why for each of the pliers, but anything that I work with the wires with, anything that I use regularly, I get these handles. For one, for protection. That's obviously nice. You want to have protection. But more than that, too, they're comfortable. They're so incredibly ergonomic. This red here is it's a harder plastic, but it's got quite a bit of texture to it. It's a lot softer than normal. And this yellow here is a rubber, and it's got quite a bit of texture. I like the way they fit. I like this guard up here in the front. It's very, very nice. They just cut phenomenally better than most pliers that I've ever used. The cutting is the same on the linemen's as it is on these diagonal cutters. Same thing with the handles, obviously, but having a 10-inch pair of these is amazing. It does make light work of everything that you need to make work of. I do have the 8-inch versions as well, and these are straight. They don't make the insulated version with a curved head, which I wish they would, but they don't. I also have a 10-inch version with the Comfort Grip handles with the bent head, but like I said, I love these handles. I like the protection of the VDE, of being insulated. Any of the cutting pliers from Knipex are just an absolute game changer. They will really set the bar. They'll set the standard very high. Number 3, we've got these Knipex wire strippers. I will say they don't have these in America yet with the VDE handle. They are in Europe, so I'm hoping that soon, very, very soon, that they will come to America with that VDE handle. I really wish, especially for this plier, that they would. Now, these things are actually the best wire strippers by far that I've ever used. I'll go through some of the features here, but as you guys can see, it's got this little locking clip here. So if I squeeze the handles and push that up, they open. And if I squeeze them down, press that down, it closes. The mechanism to lock them is great. They look phenomenal. They look fantastic. The comfort grip handle is comfortable. It's just not insulated, and it's not quite as ergonomic as the VDE. Also, I like the yellow and red. I'm just gonna be honest there. That's a personal preference, but it is what it is. They cut 832 and 632 screws very well, but the area that they really stick out the most in, especially compared to other wire strippers, is this cutter here. This is a shear, and I'm telling you guys, it is the best cutting wire stripper I've ever used. You guys, it cuts MC cable like absolute butter. There is nothing that these things won't cut, and you pay for them in price, but it's so worth it, especially with all the other functions that this gives you. You don't need to use other pliers to cut. Normally, wire strippers are a little bit cheaper. You run through them a lot more. You know, you just strip wire with them. You don't want to use them to really cut. However, with these are the pliers, okay? And nobody wants a cheap pair of wire strippers. These are the ones you want if you're getting some. They've got this head up here too that's thick. I kind of wish this was thin. I really like to use my wire strippers more as a needle nose than I do a lineman style, but you can twist wires if you're into that. But this jaw here too has some pretty cool features. It's serrated in these areas, and then there's a thin area right here for you to use to put your wire in so you don't damage the insulation there. And they've also got an area down here closer to the stripper for nuts and bolts and stuff like that to grab onto. This is a high class pair of wire strippers, you guys. It strips 18 through 10 solid, and it strips 20 through 12 stranded. So it gives just about everything you need. I do wish they had done 10 stranded in there, because as a commercial electrician, a lot of our lighting circuits are 10 gauge. It is what it is. I get through it. I make it. I still choose to use these every single day. These are the pair that I use every day, and I have 19 pairs of wire strippers. So I just did a video on that. I'll tag that at the end as well, but these are my babies. All right. These are the ones that I love, and they definitely change the game on wire strippers. Now, last but not least, these babies right here, the Pliers Wrench. These things are absolutely phenomenal. What an innovative tool from Knipex. These things are just right up there with the Cobras, where so many different people use them, not just you know, like electricians and stuff like that, because they're so multi-purpose use. Now, if we look, they are a push button, which again, I love, but they have all these different settings here. You can see all those teeth right in there. So it sets to all of those different levels, so you can have that much of an adjustment. And when you open it, it moves the jaw ever so slightly. So it really enables you to use these and to use them just exactly the way you want, to grab every nut and bolt the way that you need to. It's a very custom fit, but it's to take the spot of the adjustable wrench. And these things are so much better because the head is angled. They're a plier. You can get so much more leverage. They're so much faster and easier to move the position of. And these are in the comfort grip handle. I like the comfort grip handle for these just because of the way that I use them. This is the 7.5 inch pair, and as you can see, you can get quite a bit. There's not a nut or a bolt that I can't get in there that I regularly work with. That being said, I also use these on pipe fittings sometimes because the jaws are flat, so they don't mar up the fitting. So if I'm putting in pipe somewhere low where people are going to see it and it's a compression coupling, then I'll use these on it so I don't mar up that compression coupling. If it's in the ceiling, I'm using my Cobras and not thinking twice about it because no one will ever see it. But especially if it's like painted red for fire alarm cable or something like that and it's a compression coupling, I'll use these for the time that I need to. But yeah, they're awesome. They are fantastic, and you just tighten it on there, release, go back. You don't have to, constantly take it off. That little adjustment with having it set there makes it so much easier. This is the chrome plated version with the comfort grip handles. These are an awesome set of pliers. They really are such a game changer when it comes to the adjustable wrench. These by far outweigh any of the other adjustable wrench options you have out there. Now, honorable mentions, you guys, these are so tough, honestly. Like I said, I mentioned the linemen's earlier. I'll go through these in another video, but they're just my favorite pair of linemen's by far. You can also remount pipe with these by putting the head in there, and then you open it up, and a 3/4 EMT will fit in there in that little circle there. That's actually what they're made for, but obviously VDE handles, all that fun stuff. You guys, like I said, I mentioned it, cutting, awesome, amazing. These installation pliers here, they are kind of a jack of all trade. VDE handle, obviously, they have these shears down here at the bottom for the cutter. They have 2 strippers which strip 14 and 12 solid wire. There's a crimper, there's a place to grab nuts and bolts, and then there's this thin head up here similar to a needle nose. And at the end, it's got this flat jaw here, and there's no serrations in there, there's no jaws, so you can grab your wire and really manipulate it and use it. I love that about these. They're a phenomenal plier. And then these bolt cutters here, these hand bolt cutters here, these things cut anything. I love to use these to cut aircraft cable, to cut screws and stuff like that. Just about anything I don't want to ruin my diagonal cutters on, these things get put to use. I've also got a flush pair, but I'm gonna have to do another video to go through these. These are the comfort grip. I like the comfort grip for these. The dipped handle is a little bit more rubbery, especially than the Cobras. And then this little baby right here, this is a wire stripper, but this thing is a game changer right here. It really makes stripping large cable or SO cord or anything like that so easy. And you just slide it in there, and there's a little blade, and you adjust the length of the blade with this black dial down here, and you can raise it up or lower it so it just takes off the insulation and doesn't nick your wiring. There's so many great tools. I'm gonna have to just show you guys my whole collection here soon. This and the installation pliers I cover in that wire stripper video, so I'll go ahead and leave that up. If you guys want to see the full video I did on the Knipex Cobras, head up here and watch this video. I appreciate it, you guys. Remember, it's all for His glory, and I'll see you guys on the next one.